Thank you for speaking with me today, Dr. Bernie Siegel.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. You have lived a heck of a life.
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. These are all these little streets, and you knew everybody. It was like living in the United Nations. Every house had races, religions, so everybody was family. So I never thought about anybody being different or not different, or we were all family. There were two doctors' offices. Every time I'd walk the street and go down that way, like going to school or something, and the doctor was not in his office, he was out in the yard, he'd say, "Barney," I'd say, "What?" "You're lucky to be alive." So he would always say that when I'd walk by. I had no idea what he's talking about. You know, even when you visited the doctor for your annual physical, "You're lucky to be alive." As I grew up, I began to realize there isn't a picture of you as a child in this house. There's no picture of you as a baby. So I started looking through the albums, and I found a picture of a carriage in the distance. You know, the hood is up. I was sitting in it because it had my name on it. So the first photograph of me in the family album, I was age 7. And that's when I began to go to my mother. "Why don't you have any photographs of me?" She said, "Bernie, when I married your father, I developed hyperthyroidism. I found photographs of that." And she looked like somebody who escaped from a concentration camp. These bulging eyes, you know, the body is wasted away. And she said, "Yes, I was told not to become pregnant. It could kill me." Well, my mother kept saying, "I want a grandchild." And I couldn't keep refusing, even though the doctors told her don't. So she became pregnant. And then she went through hell because they told her, "You can't have a cesarean section. It could kill you." Because she went through the 9 months and survived, but her body was so weak, the labor was hopeless. There was no strength in any of her muscles left. So she was in labor for weeks and weeks. She said, "I just lay there screaming." And they finally said to her, "Well, we have to pull him out because if we operate, you'll probably die due to the stress of the surgery." So she said they worked out some kind of forceps, modify them so that they would fit in and reach way up to reach you. Then they went and put the forceps in, and screaming more, and they yanked me out. Then we took you home, because I said, "Then why didn't you take a picture? You know, you brought me home." She said, "Because they handed me a purple melon, not a child." Then I realized I was so battered and swollen. That's what I was, a purple melon. She said, "We hid you either in the carriage or in the house, covered you up in the crib or the carriage, so nobody would see you and get upset." I said, "Ma, how did I survive?" If you take a newborn, be it a kitten or a child, hide it away and don't touch it, the metabolism never kicks in, the glands don't start functioning, it dies." And then I heard that sentence, "Oh, my mother took you, poured oil all over your body, and pushed everything back where it belonged 4 and 5 times a day. Every time we'd feed you, my mother would pour oil on you." That was it. I thought, oh, now I know I am alive. The fascinating thing, maybe 40 years later, you know, we're married. My wife and I are going to get massages, and the guy says, "I'm really busy today. My wife is a therapist. Can she do one of you?" I said, "Look, we both love your coarse, strong hands, but I don't want to deprive my wife of those feelings, so let your wife do me." I go in, I lie down, you know, take my clothes off, and a woman, for the first time in my life, puts her hands on my naked body. It was hypnotic. I went back to being infant again. And she's talking to me, and I'm hearing my grandmother. But I'm an infant. You know, she'd say, "Raise your right leg." I couldn't. I'm a newborn baby. Turn over. I didn't budge. I knew that we were in a room with lots of people getting massaged too, and that people realized he's not acting normal. But I couldn't talk to them because, again, I thought, you're an infant. You don't know how to talk. You don't know how to say words. So she kept working, and if I didn't turn, she'd push me over, and her hands were grandma. And she didn't stop, thank God. So after maybe, say, half an hour, finally she stepped back. I came back into who I was when she stopped talking to me and massaging me. And I finally opened my eyes. I said, "I've got to tell you something." Because the whole room was thinking, he's had a stroke. Why would he not talk to her? And I said to everybody in the room, "I'm okay. You have to understand." I went back to being a newborn infant. It was hypnotic to have a woman's hands massage me for the first time in 40 years.
With the oil probably.
Yeah, and the oil. Oh, yeah, it was
Yeah.
exactly what I went
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
And don't forget, my clothes are off, you know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much exposed to everything except underwear on. So it's like the baby again. That impressed the hell out of me. Other things doctors used to tell me, you should have your right leg fixed. And I thought, what are you talking about? I can walk. I'm not having trouble. What I realized, they're out of line. The way if I put the feet down, how this one goes that way and this one goes that way. Chiropractor was always telling me I should have my right leg fixed. And here it's empty, and here there are lumps. It's all over. Oh, the ribs. I have prominent ribs. It's obvious they're out of line and sticking out in the air. And I didn't know what that was all due to until I heard these stories. And I realized it was all due to my delivery, the things that happened to me, getting me out of my mother. But I'm sure all those things had a role in my life, leading me to care about other people, to want to be a doctor. And so here I am, you know, not a normal person. Yeah, it's not good to be normal.